mind, you'll be on the record. But as long as you don't have a problem with that, I don't either. Lovely. So we're going to start seated today. So as always, any kind of seated, comfortable seat that's comfy for you. So whether that's can be on a chair or a sofa. I don't see many of you take me up on that offer very often, but I really do mean it. Like, we're just centering and grounding here, so whatever's going to be nice and comfy for you. So starting to let the limbs fall nice and heavy into the earth. Starting to settle. Maybe even kind of as we close the eyes, you might want to take a gentle sway just to start with, before gradually finding stillness at a time that feels right for you. Appreciate it can be very difficult to come straight from lots of movement to suddenly being still. So really taking our time with it. Releasing and letting go. I'm going to let you start to focus nice and mindfully on your breath. Apologies, I don't know how this has happened, but my cats have come in. So whilst we're centering, focusing on the breath, I'm going to put my little rascals out. But nice, deep, conscious inhales, lengthening through the exhales. Really releasing any tension, and whatever that means for you. So maybe that's releasing tension physically, maybe some kind of energetic release, or maybe emotionally as well. Maybe starting to lift the corners of the mouth, keeping that breath going, and not particularly trying to control the breath or change it, just mindfully noticing where it is, being present with the breath. So our theme for today's session, so just while we're continuing with that nice present breath, I'll just take us through the theme. So we're continuing looking at the yamas, so the ethical restraints that we practice as part of yoga. So we're going to be looking at brahmacharya today. So the direct translation can be a bit kind of controversial, because the direct translation is thought to refer to kind of sexual chastity or celibacy. So in our yoga practice together, obviously that's not really a problem or something we need to worry about, but a more kind of contemporary interpretation is about, regulating our energy and being really mindful of how we're using our energy. And it's not so much kind of a moral judgment of how we use that energy. It's just about kind of considering our own values and choosing wisely kind of how and when we choose to use that energy, and recognizing, our energy supplies, whilst they might be renewable, they're not infinite. We've only got a limited amount of energy in our cup before we have to refill. So it's about preserving it for the activities that are going to fill us and make us feel good. So fill us with enjoyment and pleasure without going into that kind of addiction stage. So for me, recently, when I kind of pondered on this theme on brahmacharya, the one that springs to me from my mind is when I'm kind of constantly scrolling through my phone, on social media. It's not that there's anything wrong with, Instagram or social media. I find lots of connection and community and inspiration through it. But where it kind of verges on more of the problem is when I'm just mindlessly scrolling and I can't really stop and I don't even know why I'm doing it. So it's kind of choosing how we apply our energy. So in our practice today, we want to be really conscious of that and considerate of that. Where are our energy levels today? So are we really looking forward to the Shavasana at the end? Are we really looking forward to all the Chaturangas that we're going to throw in the planks? So recognizing where we are and meeting those needs today. So before we get moving, just taking a moment to really scan through the body. Noticing how we're feeling, noticing if you're kind of eager to move and to get going. Setting an intention to move with honesty about where you are right now, what you need, maybe where you'd like to be by the end of the session. So we're going to start just with a little breath work, a bit of pranayama. Hopefully it will be kind of de-stressing and relaxing, but if you do find that it's, making you feel more anxious or more stressed, or it's just not comfortable, then just continue to breathe normally. It can have different effects on people. I can't remember kind of the Sanskrit name that was told to me, but I remember the English translation, and it's called like the crying breath, because the idea is it's meant to replicate that kind of release of tension you get when you're crying. So I don't know about you guys, but I do sometimes find that I feel much better after I've had a cry about things. So this breath is meant to replicate that. So what we're going to do one sharp, quick inhale in, followed by a longer inhale in, and then we're going to exhale and let all of that go, maybe with quite an audible sigh. So I'll kind of demonstrate, and then if you want to follow along after, what we're going to do, we'll go a quick inhale in, so a longer one, and then let it all go with an exhale. So maybe going through that a couple times. Might be quite audible. You can continue going through that just whilst I'm talking. Maybe with that kind of audible exhale, you might feel your shoulders drop, you might feel your limbs go heavy into the earth, really kind of releasing and letting go into it. So one more time together. Lovely. So from here, we're going to get moving in the body. So taking our arms forward, we're going to bring ourselves over into tabletop to start. So we're going to come to find our cat-cow, so making sure our knees are nicely underneath the hips, fingertips are spread nice and wide. We're wrapping the arms around, pushing away from our mat, so really feeling that connection. And then with your own speed, when you're ready, we'll inhale, start to drop the belly, send the gaze, the chest forward. Exhale, pushing through the shoulder blades, taking the gaze to the back of the knees, really feeling into the back, into the spine. Going at a rhythm, a pace that feels good for you. Maybe kind of pushing into the tops of the feet. I had to think what they're called then. They're not the soles of the feet, the tops of the feet. It's a nice connection with the earth. Obviously, we've not done a lot of seated stretching today, so we're just going to build a little bit of mobility here. And if you've got any kind of intuitive movement calling out to you, if you want to dip the hips or add any circles, take it forward and back, anything like that, adding that in, finding what feels good for you today. Lovely, guys, looking great, looking good. And we might all look a little bit different from each other, and that's fine, because we're all going to work with where we are, with our bodies, with our energy. Great, and then when you're ready, we're going to bring the toes together, take the knees nice and wide, bringing ourselves back into our Balasana, child's pose. So hips come back. Maybe we walk the arms forward, bringing the chest down towards the earth, really opening through the backs of the shoulders here. Resting the forehead on the earth. Lovely, guys, releasing and letting go here. And then we're going to start to stretch into the side body and into the shoulders. So maybe bringing your hands into kind of spider fingers, you're going to walk them over to the left, and then maybe get a bit of a stretch through the right side. So bringing kind of our chest towards that left knee, folding over again here. Noticing where you feel this, maybe you feel it in the side, in the shoulders. And the quads, there's no right or wrong. And then with the exhale, we'll bring those little spider fingers up again, walk that over to the other side, so walking it over to the right this side, bringing our chest, our forehead down towards the mat, releasing into your child's pose here. Lovely, opening through the shoulders. Great, and then when you're ready, we're going to slowly start to make our way towards standing. So maybe from our child's pose, we might come back through to our tabletop, and then tucking the toes under, use the hands to kind of walk ourselves back towards our feet. Obviously, we can go feet to hands, also a very valid option if that feels better for you. But maybe trying it this way, coming into our Uttanasana forward fold. So we might have quite a generous bend in the knees here to start with, elevating the hips up to the sky. And then nice and slowly, almost as slowly as we can, really pushing through the feet. So nice connection to the feet here, Pada Bandha. So we start to roll our way up to the top, coming up to standing. Rolling the shoulders down the back as we arrive, palms shine forward to invite in lots of lovely energy. And then settling into standing here. Lovely, taking our time kind of arriving here. I know I say it a lot, but I really like Tadasana just as a little check-in, that sensation of arriving, coming back to us. Sorry, I'm taking a drink. Obviously, if you guys need to as well, do stop. Don't wait for me to offer. So we're going to spend a few moments just really kind of feeling that connection with our feet to hopefully inspire a bit of grounding. So what I want us to do with your feet comfortable hips distance apart, we're going to lift the toes off of the earth. And then nice and slowly, one by one, we're going to start with a little toe and just try and place the toes down individually, one by one. So really feeling that connection with each one. Maybe seeing where else in the feet you feel it as your feet kind of adjusts and adapts. Maybe you find one or two, or maybe all of them where you can't really do it individually, and that's all good too. Really pushing into the toes. And then we're going to lift the toes up again. Maybe we try that the other way. So lifting them all up. Maybe we start with a big toe this time. See how that feels. Doing one after the other. Bringing really all of our focus and our awareness to our feet. Then we're going to try one more thing. So we're going to lift all the toes off this time. Then we're going to put the little toe and the big toe on the mat. See if you can keep the other three extended up in the air. So the middle toes just hanging off. And then with an exhale, we'll release those ones down to the mat as well. Maybe we feel that kind of almost a suction, that connection with all the feet, all the muscles, and nice and stacked. That Pada Bandha, activating through the feet, through the legs. So from here, we're going to play around with some squatting, just so that we can kind of activate the legs, activate through the pelvis as well. So if you're able to, if you've got the balance today, we're going to come up onto our tippy toes. So maybe finding our balance here for a moment. We're going to take the arms out in front of us, and with an inhale, we'll start to squat, bending through the knees, bringing the hips down towards the earth, seeing how low we can come, and then exhale, pushing ourselves back up. Maybe coming through that again, finding that balance, that focus, that strength. I'm definitely wobbling a little bit. Coming down with the inhale, pushing up through the exhale. I'm going to come and watch you all, but continuing to do that. You might find, so for me, that breath cycle always feels a little bit off. But the reason I'm telling you to do it that way around is supposedly that exhale as we come up can be really helpful for kind of the muscles in the pelvis, just making sure everything's aligned nicely and activated. If it really doesn't feel good for you, then just breathe in a way that feels more comfortable. But finding that stability. Some of you have got an added challenge to your balance because you've got lots of pets running around. Lovely. And then as we come up next time, connecting to the earth again, feeling nice and grounded, head over heart, pelvis over ankles, nice and stacked. And then we're going to start to move through our sun salutations. So as we do that, being super aware of our themes, so our brahmacharya, using our energy levels properly. So as always, if we want to skip anything, change anything, take anything slower, please do. So from here, maybe starting to lift the corners of the mouth, invite in a little smile. Imagining that sun in front of you, shining some light, some warmth on you. And then we're going to get moving. So with an inhale, we'll take those arms up and overhead, really reaching for the sky. Exhale, we'll fold at the hips, swan dive the arms down, coming into Uttanasana. Lovely, everyone. Inhale, halfway lift, pushing through the feet, squeezing the shoulder blades. Lovely, guys. Exhale, Uttanasana, bringing ourselves down. Inhale, we're going to spread the fingertips and step or jump back to our plank, pushing away from the earth. And then with your next breath, chaturanga, knees, chin, chest, or just come into our tabletop, we're going to come down into our cobra. Heart shines forward, elbows pinned in. Lovely, guys. And then we'll exhale, tuck the toes under, send the hips up and back to our downward dog. We'll take a moment in this one to pedal through the legs, find a bit of space in the back body and the hamstrings. Bring that belly back to the thighs so we've got that nice long spine. Looking good, guys. Noticing where the breath is here. Lovely, and then we'll inhale. We're going to send the right heel back behind us, three-legged dog, toes face the earth. With an exhale, we'll bend through that knee, bring it into our chest, and then bring ourselves forward, pushing into the shoulders to drop that foot down between our hands. Lovely, guys. Lovely step through. It's really strong. From here, we're going to inhale, pop that back knee down. Then nice and light on the fingertips, we'll bring them up towards the sky, Anjali-asana. Lovely. Folding into that front knee. If you'd like, you can interlace the fingers, take them behind the back, send the elbows nice and wide, opening through the chest. Great, guys. And then we'll exhale, wiggle those fingertips back down to wrap around the foot. Unbend that back knee. Send that front foot back, come back to your downward dog. Taking a moment here. I'm going to come and watch your... As always, we can always skip the next bit if we like. Mix it up, or if you're with the sun salutation, we're going to inhale, send that left heel up behind you, find your three-legged dog. And when you're ready, bringing that knee into your chest, stepping it through between your hands. Great, guys. Dropping that back knee, and then nice and light on the fingertips, bringing ourselves up to Anjali-asana, crescent lunge. Obviously, option to pop those hands behind the neck if that feels good, but really opening through the center here. No needing to rush, radiating out the pose. Lovely, guys. When you're ready, we'll wiggle those fingertips back down. Step that front foot to meet the back, coming up to our downward dog. Lovely. And then we're going to step, jump, or hop up to the top of the mat. Come into Uttanasana, rolling our way back up, nice and slowly so that we've got time to almost recalibrate, to settle. And then when we get there, we're going to go straight back into those movements again. So inhaling, taking the fingers all the way up, nice big stretch. Exhaling, folding down to our Uttanasana. Lovely. Inhale, halfway lift, pushing through those feet, squeezing the shoulder blades. Lovely, guys. Exhale, bringing those fingertips back down. Inhale, we'll step or jump back to your plank, pushing through the mat, sending the belly button up to meet the back body. And then chaturanga, knees, chin, chest, or we're just coming on down any way that feels good before we push up to our cobra. Opening through the heart space, really grounding down through the legs and the pelvis. And then we'll exhale, tuck the toes, send the hips back to downward dog. Obviously, we can always come for a tabletop for that one too. Breathing into the belly. When you're ready, we'll send the right heel back this time, sending up nice and tall, pelvis stacked. Exhale, bending through that knee, bringing that leg forward, jumping it down in front. Lovely. Inhale, drop the back knee, bring the fingertips up towards the sky, lots of energy. Exhale, wiggling those fingers down to wrap around that front foot. Great, guys, you're doing great. We've got this. And then we'll send straighten through the back leg, send the front leg back, coming up to our downward dog. And then we're going to take that onto the other side. So this time lifting through the left heel, really pushing away. Lovely, Molly. And then bending that knee, bringing it through to step between our hands. Lovely. And then we're going to open into our Anjali Asana. So resting that back knee down, bringing the fingertips up. Lots of energy here. Lovely. And then we'll wiggle the fingertips down. Lifting through the back knee. Bringing the front leg back, and we'll come to settle in our downward dog. So we're going to be here for maybe 5 breaths or so, settling in. If we prefer to come down to child's pose, we've always got that option available to us. But noticing how we're using our energy. Is there anywhere where we can rein it in here? Somewhere we can kind of pull in the reins, find our breath, take stock. And maybe that's playing around with where we're placing the limbs. Super. And when you're ready, we'll bring those knees down to the mat, taking them nice and wide. Bringing the hips back for your very well-earned child's pose. I don't know about you guys, but I'm very warm now. Not that you ever need to earn child's pose. Child's pose is always there for you. But reminding ourselves there's no need to rush through this rest. So we can settle here, notice what's going on in the body. Noticing how it feels to soften and release. Noticing what the breath is telling you here. Is it loud? Is it soft? Is it quick? Lovely. So from here, we're going to kind of bring our chest forward towards our Sphinx. Lizzie, if you prefer to stay kneeling, if that's more comfortable than you, then we can play around with some of these things in a more seated position as well. Obviously, that option is there for everybody. But we're going to come into our kind of Sphinx position, and we want to really focus on kind of that pushing away through the hands. We're inviting lots of energy as we kind of ground down through the legs, through the pelvis, maybe getting a bit of a gentle back bend here. Heart is shining forward. Breathing into the belly, into the pelvis. And we're going to play around with a bit of frog's legs on each side. So from here, if it's kind of available to us, we're going to bend through the left knee and bring it almost parallel with the hip. So I'm bringing that knee out. If you need to kind of use your hand to bring it on up, that's all good. But we want to keep pushing away through our arms that are on the floor. So if we're doing this from kind of a more upright position, if we don't want to be on our fronts today, then maybe playing around with it kind of from this position. So one leg straight, one leg bent, kind of replicating where we are in our Sphinx pose. So continuing to push kind of through those arms, we're going to take our gaze back to that knee, breathing into that hip. Maybe we feel a little bit of a stretch of an opening in the inner thigh. Feeling the breath as it kind of moves through the body. If we're upright, then we'll play with that same stretch, but just by rocking ourselves back and forth into that hip, seeing how that feels. Lovely, everyone. And then nice and slowly, we're going to take that onto the other side. So switching those legs nice and gently, taking our time with it. There's absolutely no rush. We're going to bring that leg to that almost 90-degree angle again. Then pushing through the arms, take that gaze over to the side. So towards the knee that's spread out. So we're quite a strong opening in the hips here. We're holding ourselves up. Great, guys. Finding that space. Feeling strong and still in the pose. Great, and then when you're ready, we'll bring that leg back in. And we're going to make our way to standing. So we're all the way on the floor at the moment. So we'll take this nice and slowly, but coming up in any way that feels good. So maybe we're coming up in a bit of a downward dog. Coming up towards our Uttanasana. So we can roll our way up. So we're a little bit up and down today in the session, but we're going to do a few standing poses now. So we'll be up for a little bit longer. But we wanted to build that nice kind of Padabandha connection to our feet before the standing poses. So for these, if you have a block or a brick to hand, I think most of you do have them and they might be quite helpful. As always, if you don't know them, we'll definitely make do without them. You might just want them kind of on the front long edge of your mat so that you can grab them when it's convenient. So we're going to start with a little bit of balance, a little bit of focus, so that we can tune in with our energy levels. So when we're ready, coming to bring the feet hips distance apart, finding that same connection to the earth, to the mat again. So we don't need to worry about lifting all the toes this time, but we do want to kind of feel through all four corners of the feet. Maybe we close our eyes for a moment and just notice that kind of rock back and forth. Notice how that feels on the feet and how the feet catch you. And then when you're ready, opening the eyes, taking the palms out in front of us to invite that energy in. We're going to inhale, shift our weight into the left side, bring the right knee up, spreading through the toes, pushing away from the earth. So we're nice and strong, nice and balanced. And then we're going to move to our Vrksasana, our tree pose. So placing that foot wherever's comfortable on the leg. So we're going to bring the knee out to the side. And then place the foot wherever is comfortable and balanced for you today. So as I say every week, this might be different to other weeks. Maybe we've got the foot on the ankle, maybe it's on the calf, maybe we're bringing it up to the thigh. Finding your strong balance, maybe finding a drishti, a focal point in front of you so we can really start to draw inwards. As we exhale, really grounding into the earth, pushing through that standing leg. And then making a choice, moving with intention, deciding what we want to do with the arms. So maybe we're inviting in this energy. Maybe we want to bring the hands in together to feel that connection, to draw inwards. Or maybe we're taking our arms up and overhead to create lots of space. Definitely don't watch me because I'm wobbling all over the place. And if you watch me, you're going to fall over as well. And you're all doing very well. Breathing into our tree. And then from here, we're going to spread the legs nice and wide, coming to our warrior two. So releasing through the feet. Maybe we take a moment just to shake off those ankles after that strong balance. And then we're going to take our feet nice and wide, starting to bend through that right knee, coming towards our warrior two. So nice firm base. Just gently at first, we can ease our way in. We don't have to go right into it straight away. Gently opening through that hip, pushing through that back leg. So both legs are nice and active. We're going to build it from the ground up. So when we're feeling strong and connected through the feet, when our legs are activated, we'll then start to add in the arms, taking them nice and wide. I always stand a little bit too close to this cupboard. And come back a little bit. And then same way we keep the back leg nice and active, we want to make sure we're keeping that back arm nice and active as well. Taking the gaze over the front fingers, finding yourself in your warrior two. Really radiating out of the pose and radiating out to all four corners, so from the feet, out of the arms, out of the crown of your head. So we're taking out lots of lovely space. Allowing yourself to almost release into the space, soften into it, whatever that means to you. Maybe seeing if you're able to do more with less. So maybe we straighten that leg a little bit if that feels nicer for us, if that feels more sustainable. Maybe we keep the arms on the hips and we're going to focus on the legs today. But do what you want to do to feel strong, to feel confident. Looking really good, guys. From here, we're going to flip that front palm, sending it up towards the sky, and then we'll cartwheel those arms back. So the left arm is walking down the left leg, right arm is really reaching up. Nice long line from kind of that hip crease up the side body, up to your fingertips. Peaceful warrior. And again, we can straighten through that leg if that feels nicer. But then when you're ready, we're going to bend through that knee, bring that elbow down to meet that front knee. Send the opposite fingertips up nice and tall. Or we can bring that hand behind our back. That can be quite nice to open through the shoulder. So dealer's choice, yogi's choice, whatever feels better for you. But we really want to feel like we're lifting out of our legs here. So arms really reaching up. Waist isn't kind of collapsing into that thigh. We're just using it as a bit of support. If your thigh is shaking and starting to talk to you like mine is, we're reminding ourselves that we're alive, we're safe, we're well. Feeling that fire. And again, seeing how we can soften here. Looking great, guys, looking really strong. So we're going to come back towards our warrior two. So really kind of lifting out the fingers. Legs almost stay exactly where they are. Arms come up back to our warrior two shape. We're going to straighten that front leg. So starting to straighten through that knee. We're going to send the right fingertips all the way forward, really reaching out of the hips. And when we can't reach any further, we're going to bring those fingertips down towards our leg or towards a block. If we have a block and we like using the block, then we've got that option there. Bring the earth up to you. Don't feel obligated to go all the way down. We might have our hand up here as well, that's fine, because we're really looking for that kind of length. So if this feels better, that's all good. If we've got the block, almost seeing how it would feel to really push into the block, see if that gives you any more lift. Practicing kind of self-control in this effort. Remembering to keep breathing, keep smiling. Great, guys. So if we're happy here, we can absolutely stay here. If you want to have a little play around with your Ardha Chandrasana or half moon pose, you might want to bring that hand down. And then we can be a bit playful with it. We might want to bring a little kind of energetic movement in to it. But what I'm going to do is move my brick forward ever so slightly and then kind of bending into that front knee, nice and energetic with the back leg. I'm going to kick that back leg up. Again, should have done further from my cupboard to find my half moon pose. So nice and strong in the side body, really pushing away with that foot. I like to have my standing foot on a slight angle, so it's not facing the short edge, it's just kind of off on the diagonal. And then maybe using that top arm to really reach up and out of our half moon. I'm going to come and have a look at you all. Apologies, I didn't explain that very well or seamlessly. Amazing, Lizzie. Look at you guys go. Looking really good, guys, really strong. Almost getting that sensation. It's like you almost want to be falling backwards. And if it helps to be up against the wall to do that, then that can feel quite good. Because we're almost kind of falling back on ourselves. So sometimes that wall can just provide a little bit of confidence. Lovely. Pushing out through that foot, breathing in. And then when we're ready, we'll bring that foot down. I kept you there a really, really long time. As always, you don't have to wait for these toes to come out. So apologies for that one. Bringing that foot down. We're going to take the feet nice and wide. As we inhale, sending the chest forward, superhero pose, nice and strong. And then option to either walk our fingertips down our legs, or we're going to interlace our fingers behind our back, get a bit of a shoulder strengthener. Start to bring our chest towards the ground, so nice straight spine, folding forwards, elevating through the hips. Your hamstrings might start to talk to you here. And then we can either keep pushing through those knuckles, or maybe once we've folded over, we release through the fingertips, through the hands, bringing them to rest gently on the earth in front of us. Maybe they come to your ankles. Maybe you want to play around with kind of walking your hands through your legs, if that feels good. I do like this Prasarita Padottanasana, wide-legged forward fold. It's quite a nice one to play around in. So maybe we're folding here. Maybe we're bringing the hands in front, playing around with some twists. Reaching through those fingers. So whatever your body is asking you for. Maybe your body doesn't want to be in a fold at all, and you're just going to come back up to a wide-legged standing pose. And that's all good too. Again, seeing how we can soften and use our energy here. So maybe we're feeling super energetic and we're keeping our hands behind us and our back is nice and straight. We're pushing out of our legs. Or maybe we're kind of softening in, still keeping those strong legs so we're supported, but really softening through the front body, letting ourselves fold and release. Lovely, guys. And then we're going to start to come back up. So again, meet your energy level. Maybe we take the hands to the hips and come nice and strong through. Maybe we're walking ourselves up our legs, kind of supporting ourselves as we go. Great, guys. We're going to take that little standing sequence. I say little, there's quite a lot there for you guys to unpack, but we're going to take it on the other side. You know what's coming now, so if you want to skip bits, move on to other bits, spend longer in certain poses, you've absolutely got that option. So from our Tadasana, mountain pose, coming back, centering here, checking in with the body, with the breath, noticing what's changed. And then we're going to take that Triabrakashna on the other side. So I think we're shifting into the right leg this time, starting to lift through the left knee, spreading through the toes, nice and balanced. And then we're going to take that knee out, placing the foot wherever feels comfortable. And so wherever feels comfortable, that's kind of a given, but wherever you're going to feel strong and confident in your balance. Bringing a bit of focus. Feeling the breath as it goes right the way down to your lungs, all the way back up again. Maybe we can almost send that breath to our feet to support with us standing. And make a nice intentional choice with your hands as well. What are you looking for here? Do we want space? Do we want connection? Do we want energy? Great, guys, all looking super sturdy. And then when you're ready, we're going to step that foot out to take our legs nice and wide, so shake through the ankles if we want to. And then we're going to come into our warrior two on the left side this time. So again, we're easing our way in. There's no kind of smooth, seamless, fancy transitions. We're just going to ease our way gently in, kind of soften into that hip. Bend through the front knee, pushing through that back leg. And only when we're feeling nice and strong, we've got a really strong foundation, we'll start to take those arms nice and long for our warrior two. Gazing over the fingers. Great, guys, just gonna have a look. Fab. Feeling nice and strong here. Bending into that front knee. Maybe as we exhale, kind of using that exhale to soften into that knee. 1% more. And then when you're ready, we're going to flip that front palm over, send it all the way up towards the sky, walking that right hand down that right leg. Peaceful warrior here. Finding that length in the side body. Reaching up. And then when you're ready, we'll exhale, really leading from the elbow. We're going to bring that elbow down just behind the knee, but we're just using it as support. We're not crashing in. And then we'll send the opposite arm either up and overhead to find a bit of lift, or maybe we're sending it behind to get a bit of a nice opening through the heart space, through the shoulder. And I guess this is another one quite similar to our half moon when we get there, where you're almost falling back on yourself ever so slightly. So you won't really be falling back. It just brings you to that straight position rather than your body trying to stop you falling. Quite a difficult habit to overcome. It's a good habit to have, not falling over. So breathing into your legs. Sorry, I'm going to stop talking rubbish. And then when you're ready, we'll push through the legs, so nice and strong, coming back to warrior two. My quads are definitely talking to me now. And then we're going to come into our Trikonasana, if that felt good for you. So straightening through that front leg, sending those fingertips forward. So I really like to get that reach, that length before we come over, so hips come back. And then we'll cartwheel the arms down to wherever's comfortable. So maybe it's the floor, maybe we're up somewhere on the calf, maybe we're on our thigh, maybe we're using our block. Whatever feels good here, but the waist is working quite hard, so we really want to feel nice and supported in the center. If we're using the block, seeing what it feels like to really push into it. Great. And again, we can play around with this, we can revisit anything we've been doing, or we could take that block a little bit further forward, and then finding a bit of energy in the legs, maybe readjusting slightly. We're going to bring that back leg up into our Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose, really pushing out of that heel, lifting through those fingertips and pushing through the standing leg. So that was quite a lot of cues, quite a lot to remember there, but really getting that sense of pushing out of every corner of the body. Amazing, Lizzie. Really nice, Kirianne. Good job, Kirsten. So that's it, using props, using anything in the room that's going to help us, whether it's a chair, a block, a bottle, a wall. If you've got super long arms, maybe your arm comes all the way down to the floor. My arms are unfortunately not long enough. Fab, guys. Playing around with that, and when you're ready, we'll bring that foot back down. We're going to take one more wide-legged forward fold. Prasarita Padottanasana, so taking the legs wide. Nice inhale as we stand up nice and tall. As we exhale, bringing that chest forward. So either keeping the arms interlaced, or we'll bring the arms to our legs, whatever felt better for you. Bringing the chest down, elevating through the hips. And then when we can't keep the kind of the spine straight anymore, we'll allow ourselves to kind of fold over, finding that comfortable position for the hands. Breathing into the belly, pushing through the legs. And we can keep a little bit of a bend in the knees, especially if your hamstrings are screaming at you. Again, choose how we use our energy. Nice. And then on your next inhale, we'll push through the feet, bringing ourselves back up. So maybe we bring our hands to the hips, push through the feet, nice, straight, strong back, coming back up to standing. So the pelvis comes forward. Lovely, guys. And as always, we want a moment to shake everything off. So bringing everything back in together, shaking through the ankles, shaking through the arms, finding any movement that feels nice here. And then we've had a lot of kind of taking up space movements. That wasn't a very efficient term. So we've been taking up a lot of space in our folds and in our standing poses. So we're going to bring that all back in now, bring that back together and play around with eagle. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our arms nice and wide. We have kind of practiced this in various forms before, but taking the arms wide, maybe wiggling the fingertips at the edge. And then as we exhale, we're going to cross those arms over, bringing the right elbow underneath the left. And then we're going to bring either the backs of the hands together. So I'm going to come a little bit closer. Or if we've got kind of the space, the dexterity in our joints, maybe we bring the hands to touch. So whichever option feels better for you. And then from here, we're going to lift through the elbows. So inhale, lifting the elbows up. So we're creating some length in the belly. As we exhale, we'll start to lift through our knee again. So finding a bit of balance. And then we're going to cross that over the left leg. So almost as if we're crossing our legs under a table or something. And then with our next breath cycle, as we exhale, we'll drop the hips back, almost coming to a little bit of a squat. To find our eagle, Garudasana. If we fall over, if we wobble, it's all good. But what I like to do here is we're kind of grounding through the legs, is really lift through the elbows, so we're creating as much space in our center. Maybe sensing that kind of skin to skin contact of the arms, of the hands. Bringing everything together, bringing that focus, that balance, that strength. As we exhale, we'll straighten through the legs, unravel, maybe give them a shake. Then we're going to release the arms. Whew. Take that on the other side. It's the same movement again. Legs are hip distance apart. We're going to send the arms out nice and wide. As we exhale, bringing them across the body. This time we're taking left arm underneath right. Let's think about that then. Oh, feels difficult on this side. I know I always start with the other one. This is why. And again, finding so either backs of hands meet. Maybe we wrap them around to the front. Maybe it feels very different on this side. So again, just as we did before, we'll inhale, start by really lifting through the elbows, so finding a bit of space, maybe there's a gentle back bend. And as we exhale, we'll lift through that left knee this time. Yeah, let's think about that too. Cross it over the right, and then use the breath to kind of sink the hips down towards our kind of chair pose or our squat. Again, if you've got super dexterous toes, you might be able to wrap your toes around the leg as well to get an extra little bind in, but don't worry too much about that if that's not available to you. But again, feeling that kind of connection, that contact with our own body, kind of like giving yourself a weird pretzel-y hug. Holding ourselves in place, finding some strength, some focus. And then with your breath, bring those elbows back up and cross the legs. Give everything a good shake. Super, guys. And then we're going to start to come back down towards the mat. So before we do, one last kind of standing strength. We're going to take the feet nice and wide. Elbows, goodness, knees pointing outwards, not your elbows. And then as swaggy as we can, we'll start to bring those hips kind of level with the knees. They don't have to be super level. Bringing the hips through, finding our goddess legs nice and strong, grounding through the feet. As we inhale, chest is nice and proud, shining forward. And maybe we keep our hands on our legs. Maybe we take them out into cactus, creating lots of space, whatever feels better for you. Maybe they're on our hips. Again, find where your energy levels are at. Breathing nice and consciously here. Maybe with an exhale, we see if we can take the hips a little bit lower, even if it's just 1%. And maybe we're holding our goddess pose here, Utkatasana Konasana. Or maybe we want to kind of make it quite dynamic. Maybe we inhale, straighten through the legs, exhale, sink the legs down. Whatever feels good for us. Telling ourselves that we're strong, we've got this. Embracing our inner goddess or fierce pose as it translates as. Holding it here for 3, 2, 1. Inhaling in, straightening through the legs. Whew, maybe we'll take the arms up for 1 big inhale in, stretch, stretch, stretch. And then exhale, we're going to come on down to the mat, so either coming to seat or maybe we want to swag our way back down again to find our way into a yogi squat. Whatever feels good. And then we'll use our hands to guide our bums back to the mat. Maybe taking some of the thud out of our fall backwards. Great. And what we're going to do from here to finish is we're going to bring our left heel into the thigh and then cross the right leg over. So similar to what we were kind of doing at eagle, we're coming to find our cow's leg, so cow face pose. So left heel is in at the thigh, right foot is crossed over, and then maybe we hold on to our feet, and as we do that, inhale, kind of lift through the chest. Taking some deep breaths here. Finding that stillness. Maybe we give ourselves a little foot rub because you know I always love an opportunity for foot rub. Being present with the breath, grounding down through the legs. Maybe with an exhale, send the elbows wide, bring our chest forward as if we're kind of folding over or looking into a pond in front of us. No needing to kind of rush through this. Finding kind of the right energy to soften and release. When you're ready, we'll inhale, bringing that chest back up. So nice long spine, sitting up nice and straight again. And then we're going to cross our legs over. So as you guys know, I really like doing this with my hands sometimes. It just kind of feels like we're tending to the body. So this time we're going to bring the left heel into the right thigh. Take the right leg on top, holding onto our feet, kind of using our feet to ground ourselves, but also to find that lift as well. So don't worry about your knees being one on top of the other. I don't know if that's something that is possible for some people, but for my anatomy, it definitely isn't. So holding onto the feet, inhaling, reaching through the chest. Maybe we close the eyes, lift the corners of the mouth. Maybe as we exhale, we send the elbows wide, bring that chest towards that knee, take our gaze down in front of us as if we're looking into that pond. Maybe looking back at yourself. So again, we're pulling in the reins here. Finding your center, taking stock of where you are. Lovely, rolling back up. Nice, guys. Then we're going to take the legs out nice and long. Maybe we give them a little bit of a shake. So we're kind of in our Dandasana, but shaking through the legs here, waking them up. And then when you're ready, nice and grounded in the legs, in the sitting bones, we're going to come back towards our Shavasana. Woo! But we're going to go by taking our arms out in front of us, energetically reaching through the fingers. Then as we exhale, we'll slowly start to curl back through the spine. So final little kind of core check-in, abdominal moment, lowering ourselves down with control. And then when you get to that bit where you just want to let go, maybe we come up again. Take it even slower as we go back, finding that control. Oh, so we can release our shoulders, release the head down into Shavasana. As always, doing anything you want to do here to make it nice and cozy. So maybe we're popping some socks on. Maybe we're getting a big blanket, laying it out in front of us. I like to lead by example, so I'm going to get my blanket out. If you want a cushion or anything underneath the head, we're going to be here for a few minutes. So really anything you want to do to feel nice and supported, nice and held by the mat. So we're going to do a couple little stretches. You can do these with a blanket over you. I'm just going to take mine off though for the purpose of the video. But we're going to bring the knees into the chest. Maybe rolling gently side to side to get a little bit of a massage in the lower back. And then squeezing those knees in towards the chest, Apanasana, wind releasing pose. Maybe as we inhale, we release the knees slightly just to create a little bit of space for the belly to grow and expand. As we exhale, squeezing those knees back in. Maybe we get a little bit of an abdominal massage whilst we're here. And then we can keep it here with the knees, both of the knees hugging into the belly, or maybe we take one leg in then the other, so bringing that left knee into the belly, sending the right heel out, toes point up towards the sky. And then switching over, taking it over to the right side. And then I'm going to invite you, I'm going to give you the option to take a happy baby here. But anything that you want to do to kind of finish off your movement, you're welcome to. But with the happy baby, we're going to take our hands through our legs, reach for the outer edges of the feet, send the heels up towards the sky. Nice and strong in the legs. And if we can't quite reach the sides of our feet, it's all good. Maybe we hold on to our ankles. Maybe we take the hands behind the thighs. But feeling kind of supported and held. And I know I took my blanket off, but you can absolutely do it underneath your blanket. I do all the time. And taking any final movement you want to take, any final stretches, any kind of little bursts of energy before we come to settle in our Shavasana. I'm going to come up to seated, but you guys kind of continue lying down, getting nice and cozy, letting the limbs fall nice and heavy. Releasing, settling into the earth. Recognizing that the right amount of energy for now is no energy. Recognizing that there's nothing to do here. There's no kind of right way to take up this space to do your Shavasana. Your practice of Brahmacharya here is to know that there's nothing to regulate, nothing to control, not even particularly trying to control the breath here. We're just integrating our physical movement we've been doing with our energetic and our emotional practice, holding this space for ourselves. Letting the body be still. Allowing the mind to rest back, as tricky as that can be. Settling in here into the joy of no longer needing to do. The bliss of simply being here, of simply resting. I'm going to go nice and quiet for a minute or so, just to allow you to really settle in here. Reminding ourselves there's no need to rush through this rest. Taking this time to reset, to breathe, to refill our cup, to refill our well of energy. And the energy that we need right now is the energy of softening, of releasing. We're letting the body rest back, we're letting the mind rest back. So making a choice here, making a choice of where our energy is now, whether we want to stay resting in our Shavasana if we want to spend a little bit longer here this evening, or if we're going to come back up to seated to close the practice together. Either option is fine, you do you. If we are coming back up, then just starting to move through the body in whatever way is calling for you. So maybe it's pointing and flexing the toes. Maybe we're going to take the arms back and overhead for a big wake up stretch, maybe a big yawn to accompany it. And then however feels good for you, pushing our way back up to our comfortable seated position, maybe the same one we started in. Nice kind of symmetry, or maybe something different that's more comfortable for you right now, more accommodating of where you are. Closing the eyes for the last few moments, maybe bringing our hands into our chest. Maybe setting an intention for the next few days to see how we're spending our time and energy. See how that aligns with our values. See how that aligns with kind of what our priorities are. Look for those opportunities to make sure our cup is filled and doesn't run out. Make sure we're not burning ourselves out by, committing and participating in things that are just draining on our time and energy, and we're not getting that kind of pleasure and enjoyment from anymore. So even if we can't make those changes right away, maybe just noticing in the next couple of days. So as always, thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining each other, for showing up for yourselves, showing up in this little community. If you'd like to, then finishing your practice with a word or an affirmation or a phrase that is meaningful for you. I'm going to bow to all of you, finish our practice here. Thank you very much for joining. I will see you all hopefully on Thursday, or when I see you, maybe tomorrow at Molly's class. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you're all doing okay. I'm going to come and end the recording. Thanks, everyone at home.